Have you ever wondered where victory really begins? It's not in the spotlight, not at the finish line, and certainly not in the moment the crowd erupts in applause. Victory starts long before any of that, quietly, in the unseen arena of the mind. Before a sword is ever drawn on the battlefield, a decision is made internally. I will win. That decision, that belief, is where greatness is born. The power of belief. Every monumental achievement, every life-changing breakthrough begins as a fragile thought, a seed of belief planted in the soil of discipline. Think of Thomas Edison. When he was crafting the light bulb, he didn't fail 1,000 times. No, he discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work. And each failure was fuel, each setback a stepping stone. That's the mindset of a true winner. Winners don't see obstacles. They see options. Where others stop, they adapt. Where others say, "This is the end," they whisper, "This is the beginning." Even if you don't have all the answers right now, even if your path feels foggy, believing in your potential is the first and most powerful step forward. Belief isn't about blind positivity. It's about something deeper. It's about the quiet, unshakable knowing that you have what it takes to overcome. Turning obstacles into opportunity. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic minds, said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Let that sink in. Every challenge you face, every roadblock, rejection or delay, it isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you, to make you wiser, stronger, more relentless. Your belief isn't just a feeling. It's your fuel. It's what keeps you moving forward when the road gets tough and the night seems endless. Here's a simple practice. Write down one goal you're currently working toward. Right underneath it, write, "I will win." Now, every morning, read it aloud. When doubt creeps in, because it will, ask yourself one simple game-changing question. What if I succeed? Let that question light a spark, not of fear, but of hope. Let it remind you that everything you've been through has prepared you for this moment. Discipline over motivation. Let's be honest. Motivation is fleeting. One day you're on fire, the next you're dragging your feet, wondering where the energy went. Winners? They don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. They show up on the good days and the bad. Not because it's easy, not because they feel like it, but because they've made a promise to themselves and they intend to keep it. Discipline is the quiet commitment to progress when no one is watching. It's the internal contract that says, "I will keep going, even when no one claps, even when no one understands." The marathon mindset. Picture a runner training for a marathon. Some days the wind is at their back. Their feet glide over the pavement and they feel unstoppable. Other days, their legs are heavy. Their mind is clouded. Every step feels like a struggle, but they run anyway. Why? Because they know. Success isn't built on emotion. It's built on consistency. Every drop of sweat, every burning muscle, every early morning is an investment. A down payment on the victory they've already claimed in their mind. This isn't just about physical stamina. It's about mental resilience. It's about becoming the kind of person who refuses to back down. Each moment of struggle adds to the strength they'll need when it matters most. The artist's persistence. Now think of an artist. There are days when creativity flows like a river. The brush moves effortlessly, and every stroke feels divine. But then come the hard days. The days when inspiration dries up and every color looks dull. Every canvas feels like a challenge instead of a playground. But what does the artist do? They keep painting. They show up, not because it's easy, but because it's their calling. They don't wait for the mood to strike. They don't make excuses. They keep going, because that's what greatness demands. So whether you're chasing a goal, creating something new, or simply fighting to believe in yourself again, remember this. Discipline is louder than motivation. Consistency is stronger than talent. And belief, when rooted deep, can carry you through any storm. Now let's talk about what happens when your belief meets resistance. When life pushes back. When the voices of doubt grow louder than the whispers of faith. Don't stop now. Let's turn the page and dig even deeper. Because this story of your breakthrough is just getting started. Earlier we talked about how belief sparks the journey and discipline sustains it. Now, let's look deeper into how discipline quietly transforms effort into mastery. Discipline, the bridge between struggle and excellence. Winners don't keep going just because they're always inspired. They keep going because they're dedicated. They understand something most people overlook. Mastery doesn't come in a flash of brilliance. It comes from repeated effort, from showing up especially when it's hard. At first, it's a struggle. You fight resistance, you wrestle with your own excuses, but over time something amazing happens. That struggle, it begins to take shape. It becomes rhythm. That rhythm becomes a habit, and that habit, it becomes your advantage. You stop needing to force it, because it's simply who you are now. That's how discipline transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. You're not just pushing through anymore, you're evolving. The Stoic control, mastering what you can. The Stoics taught a simple but life-changing truth. You cannot control what happens around you, but you can always control how you respond. That's where discipline steps in. Discipline is that internal control. It's choosing to act with purpose, even when you feel scattered. It's aligning your behavior with your long-term vision, not your short-term emotion. This isn't about perfection. It's about building habits that serve you, so success becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Eventually, discipline stops being something you practice. It becomes something you are. It becomes your compass, the thing that steers you when motivation is nowhere to be found. When life gets messy and plans fall apart, discipline is what keeps you grounded. When emotions try to hijack your focus, discipline keeps you steady. Because feelings are temporary, but the consequences of your actions can last a lifetime. The daily grind, where dreams become reality. We tend to glorify the finish line, but the real magic is in the grind. The quiet persistence, the unseen effort, the uncelebrated moments when no one's watching. That's what separates those who dream from those who do. True winners don't see discipline as a burden. They see it as a gift, something they give to their future selves. It's the difference between wishing for progress and building it. Sure, motivation can start the fire. But discipline? Discipline is the oxygen. It keeps the fire burning, long after the hype dies down. Every disciplined choice is a vote for the person you want to become. One small decision at a time, you carve a path forward that becomes unshakable. Build your system, one habit at a time. Here's something practical you can do right now. Create a daily routine that directly supports your goal. Stick to it for 30 days and track your progress. Each week you stay consistent. Give yourself a small reward. Celebrate the habit, not just the result. And don't just wing it. Identify your potential distractions and make a plan to face them before they show up. This kind of intentionality, it sets winners apart, because real achievers aren't afraid to fail. They know failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the path that leads to it. The Michael Jordan mindset. Michael Jordan once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeed." That quote, it hits deep. Because it's not about talent, it's about how you respond when talent isn't enough. Each missed shot wasn't just a failure, it was feedback. Each loss taught him something. Each moment of disappointment refined his skill and strengthened his resolve. And that's the truth. Failure can teach you far more than success ever could. Failure, your most honest teacher. Failure isn't your enemy, it's your mirror. It shows you exactly what to improve. It points to what must change. It uncovers blind spots you didn't even know you had. It reveals the cracks so you can reinforce them. The Stoics embraced this truth through a concept called amor fati. It means love your fate. They believed every event, whether painful or pleasant, was a necessary piece of the puzzle. Every failure, every detour, it's all part of your personal evolution. A message, a redirection, a whisper, this is where you need to grow. The Wright brothers, flying through failure. Think of the Wright brothers. Before they ever achieved powered flight, they faced setback after setback. Each failed attempt, a clue. Each crash, a lesson. They didn't crumble. They recalibrated. They tried again, and again, and again. That relentless pursuit, fueled by discipline and a willingness to learn from failure, changed the world. Final thought for this chapter. Every time you fail, you gain clarity. Every time you show up, you gain power. Winners understand that the road to greatness is built on thousands of invisible steps. And failure, it's not the end of the road. It's part of the blueprint. We ended on the truth that failure is not your enemy. It's your teacher. Now let's explore how embracing it rather than avoiding it becomes a powerful tool for growth and greatness. Failure, not a verdict, but a vehicle. Failure is not a reflection of your worth. It doesn't define who you are. Instead, it reveals who you're becoming. Every setback isn't a wall, it's a doorway, a new route, a necessary recalibration. Each time you fall short, you're not moving backwards, you're moving forward with more insight, more clarity, and more strength than before. Your failures aren't flaws in your story, they're the foundation of your evolution. Just like steel is forged in fire, so too are the strongest individuals shaped through heat, pressure, and resistance. Setbacks don't destroy the dreamer, they refine them. So when failure strikes, and it will, don't collapse into self-blame. Don't let it spiral into shame. Pause. Reflect. Adjust. Keep going, because every setback is secretly setting you up for a comeback. Turn every stumble into a strategy. Here's the truth. Each failure is a lesson. Each detour is a test of your will. And each disappointment, it's fuel for your future triumph. Instead of running from failure, study it. Take a recent failure you've experienced. Write it down. Underneath, list 3 lessons you've learned from it. Then, share it with someone you trust. Discuss how it made you wiser, how it sharpened your perspective, and what specific changes you'll make going forward. And if your inner critic whispers, "You lost," counter it with this mantra: I don't lose, I learn. Say it aloud when you feel stuck. Write it on your mirror. Keep it close, because this mindset turns pain into progress. Perseverance, the quiet strength of the winner. Perseverance isn't loud. It doesn't always look impressive. But it's relentless, steady, undeniable. It's waking up and choosing to try again, even when yesterday broke your spirit. It's showing up with resolve, not for applause, but for your own growth. Perseverance is the invisible thread that ties your daily efforts to your future breakthroughs. It doesn't promise instant gratification. It promises real transformation. Because success, it isn't one big leap. It's 1,000 small steps, taken on days when no one's watching. Every small action you take, no matter how routine or minor it feels, is laying bricks. Brick by brick, you're building the path to your dream. From rejection to revolution. Let's talk real examples. Think of J.K. Rowling, who was rejected by 12 publishers before one finally took a chance on her story. What if she had stopped at the 11th no? What if she believed rejection meant she wasn't enough? Or consider Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison, nearly 3 decades of lost freedom. But even in that darkness, he held on to his vision. And when he emerged, he didn't return bitter. He returned ready. He went on to become the president of South Africa and a symbol of peace worldwide. These stories remind us, what looks like a dead end may actually be the beginning of your most impactful chapter. Behind every overnight success is a long, silent story of perseverance, one filled with rejections, failures, doubts, and the unwavering decision to keep going. Every struggle writes your story of strength. The people who rise to greatness, they don't rise because everything was easy. They rise because they refused to fall without learning. Every rejection was a lesson, every failure a forge, every challenge a chapter in their story of triumph. Take Thomas Edison. He didn't just invent the light bulb, he uncovered 10,000 ways it didn't work first. But he didn't see those experiments as failure, he saw them as refinement. Each wrong answer was one step closer to the right one. That's the mindset of innovation, of mastery, of a winner. The road is rarely straight. Let's be honest. The path to success is not a straight line. It's filled with sharp turns, detours, and moments that test your patience and resolve. Sometimes you'll wonder if you're lost. Sometimes you'll feel like quitting. But here's the truth winners live by. Perseverance doesn't guarantee immediate success, but it guarantees progress. Even when the steps are small, even when the progress feels invisible. The Stoic way, endure with grace. The Stoics had a word for this kind of inner strength. Anarene. It means to endure hardship without complaint. To bear life's weight with grace, not grumbling. They believed real power isn't just in pushing forward, it's in pushing forward with calm, purpose, and inner peace. That's what makes the difference. Because life will test you, but how you respond, that's your legacy. As we saw before, perseverance isn't just about trying again, it's about who you become through the trying. Now, let's step even deeper into what it really means to endure, thrive, and rise above when life hits hardest. The storm always passes, but who you become matters most. Every storm, no matter how fierce, eventually quiets. And when the winds die down and the sky clears, what's left? Victory, growth, clarity, but most importantly, you refined through the struggle. Perseverance, in the Stoic sense, goes beyond mere endurance. It's about holding your composure while everything around you is unraveling. It's about locking your eyes on the horizon even when you're knee-deep in the storm. This kind of perseverance doesn't shout, it doesn't demand attention, it whispers, keep going. It reminds you that strength isn't about overpowering the moment, it's about outlasting it. You rise above the chaos, you continue forward with an unwavering heart, and no matter how harsh the circumstances, you refuse to be shaken from your purpose. Inner resilience, power that can't be touched. Those who cultivate inner resilience develop a rare power, one that no external chaos can dismantle. They thrive, not just survive, amid adversity. They see beyond what's collapsing and focus on what can still be built. They understand that perseverance is not about gritting your teeth forever. It's about finding light in the darkest tunnels. About taking steps forward when everything around you whispers, stop. And here's the truth. Some of the most inspiring people in this world aren't the loudest, aren't the most visible. They're the ones who work tirelessly behind the scenes, often unnoticed, always unwavering. The quiet heroes among us. Think about them. Those silent warriors you admire. The single parent who works 2 jobs but still finds time to read bedtime stories. The young student who studies in candlelight because the power keeps going out. The elder who gets up every morning with aching bones and a brave heart. Their strength doesn't come from a life without hardship. It comes from the choice to face hardship and keep showing up anyway. And that's what real perseverance is. Not perfection, but presence. Not comfort, but character. In the end, perseverance is not just about getting there. It's about how you change along the way. It's about the strength you build, the values you sharpen, and the quiet, unshakable resolve you carry forward, step by step. How perseverance shapes the person, not just the path. Each day you persevere, you're not just chasing a goal. You're becoming a more refined version of yourself. You're learning grit. You're developing mental armor. You're shifting from I hope to I will. This transformation, this molding process, is what creates true winners. People who don't just survive adversity, they grow through it. They emerge with more compassion, deeper wisdom, and a drive that cannot be shaken. And in doing so, they don't just achieve success. They inspire others to pursue their own with relentless determination. A simple practice to strengthen your resolve. Here's your challenge. Identify one obstacle you're currently facing. Now commit to one small action every single day that helps you move through it. No matter how minor it seems, do it. Next, find a quote about perseverance that lights a fire in you. Print it, write it, stick it on your mirror. Let it be your silent coach every morning. Finally, start a perseverance journal. Each time you wanted to quit but didn't, write it down. It may feel small now, but over time, that journal will become living proof of your strength. A roadmap of grit, a collection of victories the world never saw, but you lived. The power of gratitude in the midst of battle. Gratitude may seem out of place when life is hard, but here's the paradox. It's in those exact moments that gratitude becomes your superpower. Why? Because gratitude shifts your focus. From what's missing to what's still present, from what you've lost to what you're still capable of becoming. It doesn't erase the pain, but it rewires your perspective. It turns obstacles into stepping stones. It transforms setbacks into setups. And it clears your lens, so you see not just the problem, but the potential within it. Gratitude builds resilience. When you train your mind to be thankful, even for the small things, you become anchored. You stop being thrown by every wave. You start seeing purpose in the pain, lessons in the letdowns, and beauty in the breakdowns. Gratitude builds emotional endurance. It keeps you from drowning in negativity, and more importantly, it awakens a sense of calm strength, a mindset that sees the bigger picture, even when today feels overwhelming. In time, gratitude turns even the ordinary into something sacred. A quiet cup of coffee, a brief walk in sunlight, a small win in the middle of a tough week. When you practice gratitude, you're not escaping hardship, you're rising above it with clarity and peace. Gratitude, as we've seen, is more than a nice idea. It's a survival strategy for the soul. Now let's explore how this mindset becomes a guiding light on the journey of growth, resilience, and inner peace. From hardship to gift. Gratitude as transformation. When you begin to live with gratitude, not just when things go right, but especially when they don't, you cultivate a mindset that is truly unshakable. You stop seeing life as something that's happening to you, and start seeing it as something that's happening for you. Every difficulty becomes a disguised teacher. Every setback carries a hidden message. Every challenge whispers, grow from this. This is how winners think. This is how the Stoics lived. They didn't reserve gratitude for sunny days. They gave thanks for the storms too, because they knew that even the harshest winds could strengthen their roots. Daily gratitude. The Stoic perspective. The Stoics believed in expressing gratitude daily, not just for comfort or success, but also for discomfort and difficulty. Why? Because they understood a profound truth. Every experience holds value. Even chaos can cultivate peace, if you choose to see the lesson in it. Even pain can build power, if you embrace it with the right mindset. To the Stoics, gratitude wasn't passive. It wasn't a weak smile in the face of hardship. It was a practice, a deliberate discipline that reframed adversity as opportunity. And with time, this practice builds something rare, inner fulfillment. The kind that isn't tied to wealth, praise, or position. It's the kind of strength that stays with you, no matter what life throws your way. Gratitude. A balanced anchor in a chaotic world. Gratitude doesn't ask you to ignore your problems. It doesn't pretend everything's fine when it isn't. Instead, it creates balance. It allows you to acknowledge the difficulty while still recognizing the beauty, to hold both struggle and hope in the same hand. This is what keeps you grounded when everything else feels like it's spinning. It's what transforms the grind of achievement into a meaningful journey. Instead of chasing the finish line in exhaustion, you begin to notice the moments along the way, the lessons, the growth, the people, the strength you didn't know you had. Gratitude doesn't make the path shorter, but it makes every step worth it. Shifting focus from lack to abundance. When you choose gratitude, you shift your mental lens. You stop focusing on what you don't have and start truly seeing all that you do. That shift alone can reignite your motivation. Now, ignite your motivation. Now, every setback isn't just a delay, it becomes a mirror offering reflection, a checkpoint inviting growth. With this mindset, frustration turns into fire. Setbacks become markers of progress. You stop waiting for joy at the finish line and begin finding it along the path. With gratitude, even failure becomes a milestone, proof that you're in motion, that you're alive, and that you're getting stronger. Purpose fueled by perspective. Each moment of sincere appreciation fuels your energy. It becomes a reminder that while the road ahead may still be long, it's rich with purpose. Gratitude opens your eyes to the reality that every day, no matter how ordinary, is a chance to improve. To get 1 inch closer to the goal. To be 1% better than you were yesterday. And as your mindset shifts, your entire reality begins to follow. You're no longer reacting, you're leading. No longer burdened, you're empowered. How gratitude impacts daily life. Think for a moment about how this simple practice affects everything else. It shifts your energy. You walk lighter, breathe deeper, stress less. It strengthens your relationships. You see and appreciate people more clearly. It boosts your resilience. Even when adversity strikes, you have a mental anchor. Gratitude helps you see the silver lining, not as a cliché, but as a genuine path forward. You stop getting stuck in what went wrong and start focusing on what can be made right. This daily reframing becomes a feedback loop. The more you practice it, the stronger your mind becomes. The stronger your mind becomes, the more capable you are of facing life with calm, strength, and purpose. The ripple effect. Gratitude builds community. And it doesn't stop with you. Gratitude is contagious. When you express it, not just in thought, but in word and action, you lift others up. You acknowledge their presence. You appreciate their effort. You spark a chain reaction of encouragement. One thank you, one sincere compliment, one note of appreciation. It creates a ripple that reaches further than you think. Gratitude builds community. It strengthens bonds. It creates mutual respect and shared momentum. And in a world that can feel disconnected, that's no small thing. Try this. A simple practice to anchor your day tonight before you sleep. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Make sure one of them is a challenge, something that taught you a lesson. This practice will train your brain to scan for growth, not just gaps. And the next time you face a difficult moment, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn from this? That one question can turn any hardship into wisdom. And that wisdom, it will carry you farther than any motivation ever could. Gratitude opens your heart. But now, it's time to open the door, because all the belief, discipline, and perspective in the world mean nothing without one thing: action. Action. Action, the catalyst of change. You can believe in yourself. You can stay grounded in gratitude. You can endure storms with unwavering discipline. But without action, it all remains potential, nothing more than untapped power. Action is the spark that ignites possibility. It's the force that takes your vision from the blueprint in your mind to the reality beneath your feet. Think of action as the bridge between who you are now and who you're capable of becoming. It's the single most defining trait that separates dreamers from doers. Doers. Dreams mean nothing without movement. You can spend weeks, months, even years planning, preparing, and perfecting your vision. But if you never take that first step, it stays in your head. It dies there. Action is what takes a dream and gives it structure. Think of an architect. No matter how beautiful the design, it remains just lines on paper without builders to lay the bricks. The same is true for your life. Your ideas, your goals. They're brilliant blueprints, but without action, they'll never see the light of day. Action is always within your control. The Stoics taught us to focus only on what we can control, and one thing we always have control over is our next move. No matter your past, no matter how uncertain the outcome, you can always choose to act. Even the smallest step breaks the inertia of doubt and sparks movement. And here's the magic. Movement creates momentum. Momentum fuels motivation. Motivation leads to even more action. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. One step today, another tomorrow. And over time, you're no longer standing in place. You're moving with power. Consistency over perfection. Often, we hold back because we fear making mistakes. We wait for the perfect time, the ideal condition, the flawless plan. But winners know the truth. Perfection is a myth. There is no perfect time. There is only now. Taking action doesn't guarantee perfection, but it guarantees growth. Every time you act, you learn, you refine, you discover what works and what doesn't. That feedback is priceless. And the best part? Each action builds momentum, and that momentum builds your confidence. Confidence isn't something you wait to feel. It's something you earn by doing. Action sharpens clarity. The more you act, the clearer your path becomes. Success is rarely mapped out from the start. It's revealed along the way. You act, You gain feedback, you adjust, you act again. Soon, what once felt confusing starts to make sense. The fog lifts, not all at once, but step by step. You don't need to know the entire staircase, just take the next step. Courage is found in doing action, also requires courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move despite it. When you take action in the face of uncertainty, you tell fear, you don't get to drive. Each time you act despite discomfort, fear loses its power over you. And you gain something priceless: resilience, boldness, inner strength. Courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the quiet act of rising when you feel like staying down, of speaking up when your voice trembles, of trying again, even after falling flat. Every courageous action strengthens the belief that you are capable, not because someone told you, but because you've lived it. Where belief becomes reality, without action, belief stays trapped in your imagination. Without action, discipline becomes dormant. Without action, perseverance gets stuck in waiting. But once you move, belief becomes conviction, discipline becomes progress, perseverance becomes triumph. It's through doing that we transform theory into experience, desire into discipline, hope into habit. And that's why winners act, not when it's convenient, but when it's hard. Not when they feel ready, but when they're called to rise. Call to action, your next bold move. So ask yourself, what's one action, however small, that you can take today? What's something you've been waiting to start because you were scared it wouldn't be perfect? What would happen if you just began? Because action, even imperfect action, creates waves. It shifts your energy, it moves you forward, it silences doubt. And with every single act of courage, you don't just move closer to your dream, you become the person capable of achieving it. Taking that first step is courageous, but continuing to take it, day after day, is where real transformation begins. Let's talk about what happens after you act, when momentum builds, confidence grows, and your surroundings start to shape your success. Every step forward builds inner strength. When you take action, you're not just checking a box, you're rewriting your story. You're proving to yourself that forward motion matters more than flawless execution. You won't always get it right. Sometimes you'll misstep, sometimes it'll feel like you're moving in circles. But each imperfect step brings clarity. Each effort sharpens your edge, and over time each act becomes a building block in the foundation of your next breakthrough. Because here's the truth. You don't grow in the thinking, you grow in the doing. Action dismantles fear. Brick by brick, winners don't take action because they feel fearless. They act despite the fear, because they know something powerful. Action is the antidote to fear. The moment you move, fear loses its grip. Every time you show up anyway, your courage grows louder. And that momentum, it compounds. Action builds resilience. It refines your instincts. It strengthens your mind and sharpens your focus. You don't have to sprint. You just have to move, daily. Because transformation doesn't arrive all at once. It unfolds gradually, like a sunrise, quiet, steady, inevitable. Small efforts, monumental change. Think of a sculptor standing before a massive block of marble. Each strike of the chisel seems small, unimpressive even. But over time, those tiny, persistent strikes reveal a masterpiece hidden beneath the stone. Your life works the same way. Each deliberate action you take, no matter how small, chips away at doubt, at hesitation, at the old version of you. Eventually, what's left is a work of art. A stronger, clearer, more courageous version of yourself. This is what winners understand. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They don't sit around hoping for ideal conditions. They create momentum by acting consistently, trusting the process. Each step forward may feel imperfect, but it's progress. And progress is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Through action, you're becoming. When you act, you're not just changing your situation, you're changing yourself. You're shifting from a passive dreamer into an active creator of your destiny. You stop merely imagining success. You begin manifesting it through each move, each habit, each intentional decision. With every step forward, you're not just chasing goals, you're becoming the kind of person who achieves them. Your environment shapes your evolution. But here's what most people overlook. You can take all the right steps, but if you're in the wrong environment, your growth will be stunted. Your surroundings matter, deeply, from the people you talk to the spaces you live in, to the content you consume daily. Every bit of it is feeding your mindset or draining it. Your environment is either moving you closer to your goals or silently pulling you away from them. Designing a space for growth. Winners know this. They take charge of their environment on purpose. They curate spaces that inspire growth, focus, and clarity. Think of it like a gardener nurturing a young plant. The right soil, the right light, the right amount of care. That plant will thrive. But put the same plant in dry, rocky ground? Neglect it? Crowd it with weeds? Even the healthiest seed will struggle. You are no different. You are no different. People matter. Choose your circle wisely. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, who inspire you to stay focused, who uplift you when you start to doubt yourself. These people are like sunlight for your mindset. They don't let you settle. They remind you who you are and who you're becoming. But if you're stuck in an environment filled with negativity, jealousy, or constant pessimism, it will weigh you down. Even the most disciplined person will begin to bend under the pressure of toxic energy, because your environment is always speaking to you, even when you're not listening. Build the soil of your future. So ask yourself today, who do I spend the most time with? What kind of energy do they bring into my life? Are my surroundings feeding my goals or fighting them? Because the truth is simple. You cannot plant greatness in poor soil, and you don't have to change your life overnight. You just have to start reshaping your environment, one intentional decision at a time. We've seen how powerful your environment can be, how it can lift you up or quietly pull you down. Now let's bring it all together. Your space, your circle, your mindset, and the daily choices that make you a winner. Choose your circle. Choose your future. The Stoics believed that we become the average of the company we keep. They taught us to seek the company of those who reflect the values we strive to embody: courage, wisdom, patience, discipline. Winners put this into practice with intention. They don't leave their network to chance. They build it deliberately, seeking out mentors who guide, peers who inspire, and friends who challenge them to grow. They know that energy is contagious, so they surround themselves with people whose energy aligns with their purpose. Their community becomes their mirror and their fuel. Your environment is your sanctuary. But it's not just people, it's places too. Winners craft spaces that support their mission. They eliminate clutter, they minimize distractions. They create environments that feel like sanctuaries for focus, deep thought, and creativity. Whether it's a quiet desk, a cozy reading nook, or a clean digital workspace, they treat their environment as an extension of their mindset. Because a well-designed space doesn't just house your goals, it nurtures them. Guarding your digital world. In today's world, your digital environment is just as important, if not more. What you scroll, watch, read, and listen to every day becomes part of your internal dialogue. It feeds your thoughts, it shapes your energy. It either builds you up or slowly breaks you down. Winners understand this. They consume with intention. They choose content that educates, motivates, and expands their vision. They limit negativity, not because they're in denial, but because they know that endless exposure to pessimism corrodes confidence, clouds judgment, and drains resolve. Whether it's the news cycle, toxic social media, or draining conversations, winners set boundaries to protect their focus. Be the architect of your environment. To win, you must become the architect of your world. Strip away what holds you back. Replace it with what propels you forward. Build a space, physically and mentally, that aligns with your dreams. Your environment isn't just where you live, it's what you allow to shape your mind. Over time, a supportive space becomes your silent ally, keeping you consistent, clear-headed, and battle-ready. This doesn't require a full renovation. Small adjustments make all the difference. Unfollow one negative voice online. Join a mastermind group. Redesign your workspace. Light a candle. Play focus music. Hang up a quote. These aren't just aesthetic changes, they're strategic moves that support your identity as a winner. Action step. Reshape what shapes you. Do this today. Identify one negative influence in your life, digital, physical, or relational. Take clear steps to limit or remove its impact. Then, name 3 people who challenge and uplift you. Spend more time with them. Call them, learn from them, grow with them. Finally, design a space for yourself. A space that's yours, where you can grow, think, plan, and become. This is how you set the stage for success. This is how you build the conditions for breakthrough. The truth about winning. Here's the final truth. Winning isn't about never falling. It's about getting back up, every single time. It's about believing in yourself when no one else does. It's about showing up when you're tired, choosing discipline when motivation disappears, finding lessons in failure, being grateful even when life feels unfair. Everything you need to win is already inside you. The strength, you have it. The courage, it's been there all along. The discipline, it's yours to command. All you have to do is choose it every day. You will win. Here's why you will win. Not because everything goes perfectly, but because you refuse to give up. You will win. Because when doubt whispers, you speak louder. Because when the road gets tough, you don't retreat, you rise. You will win because you are unstoppable, because you are unbreakable, because you believe. So the next time you feel weary, when fear creeps in, when progress feels slow, when quitting looks easy, remember this: you will win because you've decided to, because you've claimed it, because you've built the mindset, the habits, the environment, and the heart of a champion. If this message spoke to you, reflect on it. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And most importantly, keep going. Because your victory, it's closer than you think. Believe it, embrace it, live it.